practically every one of the top 40 records being played on every radio station in the United States is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums have their own hidden symbols and messages, as well as all the lyrics of all the top rock songs. And they all sing the same refrain. It's fun.
This is a special request. We don't want you to smoke genetically modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing. We want you to smoke the natural herb. Some call it marijuana, some call it sensimedia, some call it lamb's bread, and some people call it
Welcome to the radio.
Welcome to the fourth installment of the Adam Dunn Show.
Fourth annual?
Fourth annual, I guess we call it now.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I've got my incredible assistant here, Flargle, who's somehow sprouted dreads overnight. So I'm not sure.
Dreads.
I'm not sure of the authenticity of those.
I'm Jamaican, boy.
But he's got some surprises for us later, so I'm sure you'll be excited when he's, unveiling of his incredibleness.
Yeah, pretty
at some
incredible.
point. At some point.
Try.
We have with us today, we have at 12 o'clock, I'm going to have some special guests in from Uruguay, that awesome place out there, which,
$1
her name is Lara Blanco, and she's going to be coming in with a little crew, and we're going to check in on Skype with their people back home and see what is going on down there, because as everybody probably knows already, Uruguay is legalizing it just as we are, and they are taking it to the next level. They are supplying it themselves. They're growing it with the government, and we're going to get all the details on how that's all going down, because as you know, that seems to be even a step in a further direction of harm reduction, and they're talking about bringing it down to $1 a gram, which would make sense, I guess, since the economy there is not maybe as strong as, I wouldn't say strong because ours is not that strong either, but the dollar value obviously is worth different. So it's trying to get things into check and make everybody, have ability to get access to this great plant of ours. So that's at 12 o'clock. And I also want to thank, we're starting to get sponsors now. I'm amazed. It's happening. Ooh. It is happening, people. People care. People listen. It's actually quite nice to hear. And I've actually got really good reviews from everybody about what we're doing.
Thank you, listeners.
I personally don't know what we're doing, but we're trying. And it's going to all come together. This whole little idea of our radio show will definitely evolve in time, because there's a lot of great stuff we can do. Just it's a matter of making it happen. Luckily, I got Flargle here today. He says he has news that he's actually written down, I think he's actually written down something.
I know, I did some research, and then after I researched it, I wrote it down so I didn't forget.
That's pretty good, huh? I like that.
Right.
So we'll have some news coming up in a little bit. So sponsor-wise, I'd like to talk about Bolt Bags. My friend Harry from Bolt Bags has agreed to sponsor us, and he's going to send me a big box of stuff that I'm going to actually start giving away on the air, because part of the sponsorship is obviously to get these products to the people, not just to myself. And that's I like that. I like that part. Obviously, I love the part of getting all the free stuff. But Harry from Bolt Bags is definitely going to be on board, and he has some really awesome stuff, because his bags, he's from home. They're basically out of NorCal, and obviously they have plenty of material to play around with. So there's not an option of not being able to use these great items. But they have food grade extraction bags, which are awesome because the material is really tough, and you want to use, whenever you're using anything to smoke, you kind of want to use food grade materials whenever possible, and when you start putting things into water, again, food grade is very important, because we're consuming these things, even if people can necessarily understand that sometimes. So we're always trying to, keep it clean, keep it healthy. And so Bolt Bags is on board, and I will be giving Harry shout outs throughout the shows. Exactly. Also on board, we have coffin bags from our buddies at Dank, who, we're pretty much work together on a lot of projects. So as far as sponsorship goes, I would hype these guys up regardless of whether they sponsored us or not. But they are sponsoring us, so I'm going to have to hype them up now. I guess This is part of the deal.
Yep, we got to hype it.
And the coffin, if any of you guys don't know what the coffin bag is, it is actually really cool. I'm going to bring one in next week. I'm still waiting for mine. This is crazy. But it's basically a backpack with all little dab essentials in there. We were working with Joel Hanlon on that one, who's another one of our friends out there. Hasn't officially sponsored me yet. I have to talk to him about that, but I would love for Joel to help the sponsors. And another sponsor we have on board is Temp Temple, which is the e-nails that everybody seems to need, actually, at this point. We need one for the studio because it's quieter and we don't have to blast a torch every time, so you don't have to always know when we're smoking. We can just slip on the side, sneak it in there. But Temp Temple is with us. Hoping to get my first Temp Temple for the lab soon. So big shout out to you guys, and hopefully we'll be having a long relationship together. A couple other ones out there that are just kind of, maybe going to be on board. I can't go giving to everybody for too much free advertising, but we do have guys from Strainwise who are sort of, they're talking about it, and I have a feeling that would be a great little angle because, like I said, they have 5 shops, and I would love to just kind of concentrate on one shop a week and kind of give them, very specific reviews and, obviously help everybody out and get to know where these shops are at and get people to them. That's the key of this whole relationship that we're trying to develop. So, my assistant Flargle, you might want to get that camera angle a little bit better because all I see is a microphone in his face.
Microphone face.
What up, microphone face?
Hello.
Now that you're there you go. Yeah. Now that you're all dreaded out, you want to maybe tell everybody what's going down. What? I think he got mites. I think what happened was he had some mites because one day he had hair, and now he come on, just show him what's up. Show him your Shaolin-ness. What the Chrome to the dome.
Chrome dome.
Wow. Not a single tangle with your hair or nothing. You look much more exotic now, I'd have to say. You're a more exotic looking guy.
Guy.
Kind of Bruce Lee-ish, slightly. There's a Tibetan monk in there. There's a lot going on. Shaolin. You can
Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
Oh, there you go. See, I can see it already. So now I have a real sidekick because before it was just kind of like a Muppet or something. But now this is like a real deal sidekick. Yeah. So, and Flargle has been last week. For those of you who don't quite see it, Flargle is actually Korean. And he's going to give us the Korean news because what we're finding out about Korea is pretty interesting stuff. Now, North Korea, which obviously is,
super sucks.
Not the ideal place to live on the planet, but they do have one little thing that they get to do, which is weird. And cannabis was never, ever classified as a drug there. It's always been just kind of there. And the one thing you can do in North Korea, so I don't know, maybe we can all get on a flight and go check it out soon.
Go to North Korea. You go to the black market weed store and you buy some weed.
And now I know why Dennis Rodman loved it so much out there, too, because he must have been like, what?
You just smoke chronic all day and tell people what to do?
So they do have cannabis there, which is amazing, and it's wild, and it grows everywhere, and it's just a normal thing. So, here's a country which, in all other aspects, maybe we don't want to emulate too much, but on the one side, they are actually, ahead of the game in the sense that they never classified it. Well, they never listened to us. That's the thing. America dictated to the world of how everybody's supposed to, perceive this plant, and, we had it wrong. So therefore, we passed it on to everybody else. And now the funny part is like people are, even though we're changing our ways, a lot of other people are just stuck in our old regime basically. But it's good to see that places like North Korea, which, like I said, I'm not trying to say I would love us to be like North Korea, but we're getting there. We're working on it, dude. I'm telling you, we're definitely doing a good job of we're starting to get cannabis, and they're starting to become extra tough on us too. So it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe we are becoming North Korea in some weird way. But anyway, so he's got some more interesting news. I hope. I mean, I probably just blew it and gave up all his good information, which was in one sentence. Yeah, pretty much
all of it done. Well, also, going back to the hemp stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess they did some research about hemp feeding to chickens to see if it makes the eggs more nutritional, and it turns out it makes them bigger, more nutritional, more omega-3s, whatever those are. And
omegas are great. They're like what's in hemp also. I mean, so if you feed them hemp, in general, obviously, you're going to pass the omegas through because that's what hemp is rich in, and it's also something that's hard for your body can't produce it itself. It needs to get it from outside sources. So,
and the N3 fatty acid content increases, so it makes eggs better. It's actually nutritional.
I mean, all food in general, if you're going to eat it, you want to have them be grass-fed or, fed with living, live stuff. I mean, the problem with most of the agriculture these days is it's all processed, as far as the food that they're eating and stuff. And then you're starting with a bad product, and if you're going to eat... I don't eat meat myself, but if I was going to eat meat, I would only be grass-fed. That's kind of the way I would look at it. It was more expensive, but that's the unfortunate side of everything is you need to spend a little more money to take care of yourself. But
doesn't it cost less because grass just grows naturally?
In the long run, it would if people would, go back to we have so much wild land here,
much,
but
domestic animals now.
Yeah, I mean, look at mad cow disease. It all developed. I mean, it was like when they figured out how it developed, and they're like, "Oh, it's because we're feeding them themselves." It's like, well, yeah, that's probably a good reason.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Oh, that's the Silk Road. Yeah. Officially.
FBI has officially arrested the Silk Road 2 months after he was arrested for fake.
Fake arrested and now really arrested. Official.
America.
We only arrest you once fake, and then we come back.
We'll do it for real.
Nail you for the real deal. Yeah, Silk Road, unbelievable amount of cash that guy generated.
Yeah, a lot of Bitcoin.
Congratulations, sir. 1.2 billion. I have to. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, for all our Florida listeners, guess what? You're going to be able to be heard on December 5th for medical marijuana arguments. So you have until November 8th to submit. The People United and the Bondi must submit their written arguments by November 8th, and then each of them will get half an hour, and then December 5th, I guess they'll just sit there and pretend to listen to them.
I mean, Florida would be a great state to join just because it would start to connect the dots. Like Cali, obviously, always, leader in the sense of starting the whole thing. But East Coast is now connecting really quickly. I mean, pretty much every state has either it on the books or it already happened. And that's obviously was kind of like the last stand except for the South. Now, the South is the hardest part.
Yeah.
I doubt, it's going to be Florida could definitely go quicker, which would be awesome. And Florida is definitely different than the rest of the South as you're down there.
And then you can tackle Georgia and Tennessee and Alabama and Georgia.
Well, I mean, Kentucky would benefit the most as far as agriculturally, just because it has such a long history of hemp production back in the day, and it would definitely be able to just jump back on board. But I mean, in the long run, it's a little bit like alcohol prohibition, where as one state falls, the next one's going to fall. And I think Florida should step out. I mean, I lived there as a kid, and it was definitely interesting to see. Even though they had the most drugs of any state I'd ever been, it had they were still harshest about it. So, I don't think much has changed too much, except for they have a ton of OxyContin now. So that's about the only other difference. And they've seen the worst effects of everything because they had cocaine in the 80s, and now they have oxy.
They could be the first to do medicinal cocaine.
And they had crack, obviously, in the 90s. So I mean, they just had one crisis after another, drug related. So for them to have cannabis would only be a healing situation, and I don't think that would be a problem for them. It'd be a great thing for Florida.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty big week last week. We had, as we were reporting before it all happened, we had the Champs Trade Show going down. We had the Drug Policy Alliance Foundation was in town. There was definitely a lot of activity going on, and again, like so much that you couldn't even absorb it half the time. You'd be like, there's politicians coming through and people from Namibia and Tanzania talking about legalization. So to see this whole global wave is pretty awesome. It's like that's why when we talk to later this afternoon, when we talk with our friends from Uruguay and see how they're taking it, like I said, one step further. And it's like I said, it's like the most awesome thing to watch. Literally, countries and regions just flip instantly for it, and at the same time, and nothing bad coming out of it except for, the
You get rid of the black market completely because it's so cheap.
Well, that is the key. That's what I think this whole meeting was based on. Is how can we use this to cripple the cartels? And that's, I mean, it's so in your face to begin with. It's like, come on now, you take away the profits on something. I mean, look at Colorado and the prices and the price drops, and then the reality of who stuck around and who didn't. You know, a lot of people, once they saw the price get below a certain point, they just didn't even care anymore. Even though, when you compare it to a lot of other crops, it's still much more valuable in the long run for the amount of space, time, and energy that needs to be put into it. So, I mean, prices, bringing the prices down is one thing. Also, the quality. I mean, who smokes Bammer Mexi? You know what I mean? Nobody really. We don't. I mean,
maybe the people in Kentucky because they can't smoke it for real.
Well, I mean, obviously, there's still tons of the stuff coming through, and it's still getting sold somewhere. But, I mean, once you have the quality like you have here in Colorado, then you don't. Nobody here is even considering it. Even if it was $100 a pound, it doesn't matter. It's not interesting. You know, there's just the quality's not there. So, little silly philosophical discussions here down at the Adam Dunn show. Yeah. So what other crazy news have we got there? Shaolin Monk.
Well, I've been following the Snowden stuff a lot, the more conspiracies. But the thing that like kind of blows my mind is we haven't tried to like reform anything. They're just now like still spying on everyone except for on Christmas and New Year's. And they're just pushing the blame off, saying, well, this guy knew about it the whole time. And that guy's like, well, that guy knew about it even longer. And he knew about it since this day.
I mean, I think everybody knew it. I mean, that's the funny part about this whole thing is not like anything new news. It's like, oh, really?
Yeah.
So just what we thought was happening, and now it's been confirmed.
Big brother.
And, you know, at the same time, other countries, you know, might be shocked that America would do this, but I don't think so. I think everybody's pretty comfortable with the fact that America's been doing this for a long time. And like I said, it's a weird. I met some people from the Soviet Union recently, and they live here now. They actually were from Kazakhstan or something, you know. And it was like they just see America turning into where they used to live and where they left. You know what I mean? And they've seen it already. They grew up with it. So for them, it's just like, oh, well, secret police was how we grew up, you know what I mean? That was, and now we have the NSA, and we have, you know, it's just like, it's very interesting to see. And TSA, NSA, all these things, all these lame acronyms for lame, you know, groups that don't really have, that are more like brown shirts from the Nazi regime, as far as, you know, like give people work who couldn't really even don't even have the education to do a normal job, and then put them in a sort of power position and see what happens. That's sort of what seems like happening. But, you know, once they like, because I think about a year ago, it was like they said they were going to start having TSA in malls and you know, at games and malls and places like that, anywhere where there's lots of people. And I don't think anybody really believed it, but now it's happening, you know, and it's pretty weird. It's definitely like, you know, wait a minute. Aren't you supposed to be at the airport? You know, it's like, come on now, what is this? So yeah, definitely not too excited about all that, but luckily we have cannabis to divert our attention.
Yep.
That's probably what this is too, a giant diversion.
You're just gonna make weed legalized and then roll on the police state.
Yeah, well, that is my fear. You know, I've always said, like, you know, it is kind of weird that we're winning this fight because we've been on such a like back footing this whole thing for so long, and then all of a sudden when you get somewhere, you're like, what's really going down right now? What is really going down? Anything else out there in the world?
Oh, where's Eagle County?
Eagle County?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Eagle County, is that out west? Yeah.
Oh, well, I was reading about this morning. They're looking at going recreational because, you know, skiing and weed, it just looks like you're going to make a bunch of money.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to see, like, the fact that, for instance, in most of the ski villages and stuff, it's all rentals, and it's up to the owners, you know, discretion as far as if people can smoke there or not. So there's, I mean, there's a huge opportunity there for people to bring in, especially because cannabis people and one thing people don't realize is if you smoke cannabis in a room, like powering, smoking as hard as you can with 10 people.
No one else is gonna
Nothing
get
like
high.
tobacco. I mean, if you sat in the room and smoked that much tobacco, first of all, you'd probably end up in the hospital because you'd be like, "Ow." But the room would reek forever. You know what I mean? Because cannabis smoke is different than tobacco smoke as far as its aggressiveness after the fact, and the lingering side of it all. Like same with clothing and stuff too. Like, you know, right after, yes, it'll smell, but then give it a little while and it all airs out perfectly. Whereas the tobacco just, you know, nails it, just sticks there forever. So forever. So I think on these rental situations, there's going to be, you know, it's going to be like a give or take. Like if the person understands that, they're going to know that it's actually in a long-term thing going to be a better thing because it's not going to linger so hard and it's not going to be a problem for the next guest. But the people who are there are going to be so happy they're going to end up not wanting to move out anyway. So you'll end up with not having to put people in and out every week, you know, because once you find a place that you're comfortable with, I mean, a lot of us are just like, you know, okay, or we'll pass that information on to our friends and get that place. That place will be booked solid the entire season, you know. And I think, you know, money talks a lot of times. You got to vote with your dollar on everything, and by, you know, renting from people who are cannabis friendly, and by making it easier for those people so the other people watch and say, how come your place is always rented out? You know, it's like, of course, because I'm letting people smoke there, and it's not basically everyone leaves some glass behind, so I end up with a nice giant glass collection because that's what would usually happen. Yeah. Whereas if it's a bunch of tobacco smokers, I mean, they'll end up
you just get,
burning holes in your carpet, and that's about it. You won't get much more than that.
Of butts.
So yeah, it's going to be very interesting for Colorado to see how this thing develops. I mean, people are coming here to smoke cannabis. I'm sorry, that's how it's going to be. So you either got to capitalize on it, or, you know, if
go
you're
to church, hide your kids, lock your children up, stay indoors.
Well, that is the unfortunate side, that there is always going to be the people who still don't get it. But
luckily, they're not in Denver.
Yeah, no, and I think Colorado has a pretty good head on its shoulders. There is some zones there, which, you know, obviously with people, when you have areas that are not letting recreational because they're scared of how it's going to go, it'll take a year, and then everyone's going to see how the next county's doing that much better, and we'll just kind of, you know, everybody wants to be like their neighbor. Something else out there in this exciting world of ours?
No, I was just thinking it would be nice to just go on vacation though and just be able to buy pot everywhere and not have to like limit your vacation spaces because can't go to this state because
it's starting to happen. I mean, like I said, the Colorado will be the starting point come 2 months from now. We're down to like an 8-week countdown. This is getting quite exciting. You
think on New Year's weed's just going to explode out of the ceilings everywhere instead of confetti?
I kind of hope so. That's what I think everybody is expecting that. Even if it doesn't happen, I think people are coming here with the idea that as the fireworks are shooting off, somehow it's just showering down and, you know, buds and joints. And
we are now accepting donations for the leaf blower experiment.
Yeah. Definitely should do a giant ball filled with joints. I think that would definitely be a good one. Got it. I think we're going to do that. But it's
also a joint drop.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting New Year's here in Colorado. It's going to be exciting New Year's in a lot of places in the world because it's starting that new feeling that the walls are coming down is definitely about to happen, and already has in many places.
It's crazy.
Including North Korea.
I know. Well, I guess the reason the government lets them smoke it is because after a hard day working like 18 hours of manual labor, smoking a doobie is a great way to relax.
Thank you for that incredible ad. That was a good ad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that.
You know, when you're slaving away for dear leader, I mean, that's going to happen one day in America. He lets you have a joint.
That's how it works. Hey, I want to take a little 2-minute break. Got to refuel a bit here and see where my guests are at and how far away they are. We're about a half an hour away from them coming in. So we're just taking a little 3-minute break. Thanks.
Cool.
call me girl, it's girl, call me Casanova. Some call me dark, some call me things what's on. Girl, call me Cellular, girl, call me Beaver. Girl, for both of them, they for repping up a letter. To me keep them loving and they can't find no better. Me tell them, say me man, me damn, me have the baby mother. To me get them matter, them say that no matter. The party get it is sweet, now me sing it. Girl, ask for the number, she request the lumber. Me give her me say, you black mobile. And the custom she use it, say she no lose it. Now she a call me all the time. Girl, ask for the number, she request the lumber. Me give her me say, you black mobile. And the custom she use it, say she no lose it. Now she a call me well. Original. Yeah. Lord of mercy. Find the first that she use it, say she no lose it. Now she a call me all the time. Girl, ask me the number, she request the lumber. Me give her me say you black mobile. Find the first that she use it, say she no lose it. Now she a call me. What did I say?
So we're back.
Hello.
You done?
Almost.
Man. No hair, no stamina.
And virgin lungs.
Virgin lungs. Pink virgin lungs.
I did not exhale.
So we're back on the Adam Dunn Show. We are about 25 minutes away from our guests showing up, I hope. Or half an hour, let's say. And I'm going to give a call in a little bit down to our friends down there and make sure that they are ready to talk with us so we can get a little translation. Laura Blanco, who'll be here in the studio. Not the best English, but I mean, she knows what I know we communicate fine. But she gets a little nervous, so we want to make sure we have somebody on board ready to kind of help her with translations down there. But also, the guy who is doing that is a really good friend of mine named Gato, and he is world famous grower from South America who actually headed the Colombian group that Are you kidding me now? Come on. All right. Yeah. He headed the Colombian group which tested 127 varieties back, I believe it was 2005, and they came to Amsterdam. Bought all these strains from all the different companies, and somehow THC, it's top three producing, top 3 resin content, top easiest to manicure, all those things we love. So I didn't know him at the time. He just kind of came and told me this, and for me as a seed company, it was awesome because this is somebody who went out to the jungle, grew these strains, and documented every single step of it. And like I said, we were the top 3 producing strains with the most resin and easiest to manicure. So thank you for that, Gato. The best advertisement I've ever had. We'll be speaking with him, see how he's doing down there in Uruguay. I mean, he is definitely in the prime place in the world for growing greenhouse growing right now, because they have obviously the land. They're a bit south. It's a very interesting climate, but they're definitely in a very kind of unique spot there too. And we'll get a little lowdown on how they're doing their stuff out there and how it's looking to shape up, because they were talking about announcing first it was November 28th, I believe, that they were just going to announce the whole program, how it was going to roll out. But now they're talking even quicker, so it could even be as we speak. So we will give him a call in a sec. And are you done? Are you done hacking over there?
I think so.
Yeah. Would you like another hit?
Sure.
Never learn.
Never.
And let's see what other great exciting things can we bring to the table today? Today's kind of a tough one. I've had such a busy week. Oh, well, here we go.
What we talk about?
Well, let's talk about our new Hood Lab opening up in San Francisco. Jeez.
Exciting.
We leave tomorrow night to go head out to there. I hope to see as many people from San Francisco that are listening to us right now come down to 1669 Haight to the opening of the Hood Lab. San Francisco edition. It's going to be really interesting, man. It's like, yeah, there you go. Boom, Hood Lab. For those of you who don't know, Hood Lab is our shop here in Denver, and we are now franchising the concept to friends out in San Francisco who are taking it even one step further, and they are right on a really prime shopping street. I mean, we are in a destination spot here in Denver. We are in the Rhino District, our spot, which is good for us because we are a wholesale company that we like to get people to buy for their shop. So if you have a shop out there and you want to carry a Hood Lamb, you can always contact us at hoodlambcolorado@gmail. We're taking orders right now for summer too, so I'll put the word out, get in now because once we get our gear, as everybody knows, we don't take a lot in, so we like to keep it fresh, and we want our friends to be happy because they know that they're one of the few people out there wearing what they're wearing. So we don't take in a zillion billion things. And so if you have a shop and you're interested, give us a shout. And if you're in San Francisco and you want to come down and check out the shop there, the retail shop, it is, like I said, 1669 Haight, which is a pretty awesome address. I'd have to say. Not only is it Haight, it's 1669.
Yeah.
I was born in '69, so I'm allowed. I'm allowed to love that number. That's my lucky thing in life. No one can ever hate on me for saying 69 is my favorite number because it is. There you go, everybody. And obviously, I want to give a shout out to my lovely wife Cece and my little baby Nick. I know they're listening. And to my mom out there, I don't know if she's listening or not, but I'm sure she is. Shout out to all you guys up there. And what else we got going on? Nothing. We're waiting for Flargle to come up with some brilliance. I thought with the shaved head that it was going to actually spark some great wisdom, but
sometimes.
I think there's truth in the whole idea that there is power in hair. See, our producer's got long hair because he knows there's some power in there, right? I used to have really long hair. I was all about long hair for the longest time. So I understand. It's got a nice. Now I got the beard. Now I got the beard. See, I got more hair on my beard.
In Colorado, was it the Proposition AA vote's happening? The deadline's coming up. I think it's November 5th.
Yeah.
The last day you can vote on it. So
how's it looking? Is there any kind of?
Well, it's like a bunch of money is going to go to schools. A bunch of money is going to go to things. Then they're going to put 10% back to the MMED so they can be more bigger, or maybe hire someone else. I don't know. There's $5.5 million for the payroll, and there's 55 employees. So I guess everyone's got a six-figure salary.
Wow. Oh, they have 12 cars per person or something like that. So I'm pretty sure they're doing all right. They have 12 cars. I don't know how you drive 12 cars. No, there's at least 2 cars per person, though. I think there was some numbers like that. It wasn't that ridiculous, but it's kind of hard to drive 2. I've tried to drive 2 cars. It's pretty hard.
At the same time,
it's really hard.
Yeah, you need a super long.
Well, if you have an English one and an American one and you drive them next to each other, you could actually reach both
Doors
pedals.
off.
You could do it, and then you could probably shift.
Just remember to turn the same direction.
So, how is our chat looking today? Anybody have any questions or anything? We haven't really. I didn't see anything scrolling. Is it not working? We got people out there. Is my UK people out there at all? Because I know they were listening last week.
MMJ Radio says hello.
Yo, MMJ Radio. Thank you. We're saying hello back.
From New York.
Hey, New York's in the house. Yo. What's going on? Yeah, no, that's the nice part about this is that I do have friends all over the world, so I think a lot of them are just going to listen for me to talk much crap.
Oh.
And
A 12-year-old apparently hacked a bunch of government websites and pleaded guilty to it in Canada.
What? Where is that
Good
kid?
job, kid.
Never plead guilty. Come on. He just wanted a job. That's all. He's like,
I mean, he's 12
I'm
years old. What
guilty.
can they do to
Give me a
him?
job now. Because that's it. That's basically what you do. You hack in. They scare you and then they hire you.
Yeah.
That's the normal, right? Well, there you go. 12-year-old hacking into government stuff is always good. I wish he didn't turn himself in, though.
I think he got caught.
He probably got caught. Yeah, that's the norm. It's no war games anymore, though, is it? I mean, they probably caught him in like the first 3 days.
Yeah, I mean, they just tap into those super.
Oh, it was for
pipelines.
You didn't say it was for anonymous, though.
Yeah, it was for anonymous.
Jeez, you missed the main point. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
for anonymous. That's cool.
Anonymous.
There you go. They're hiring 12-year-olds now. That's pretty good. Anonymous. We're against everything bad except hiring 12-year-olds to do our work for us.
Use child labor.
Child labor.
It's all
Where
good.
is he from? What city?
Oh, Montreal.
Oh.
He's Canadian, eh?
Hey.
What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Nah.
that's pretty cool. What else is? Well, I'll take a bowl hit. How's that? You try to find something interesting. What are we smoking here?
Double barrel.
Double barrel. I had some hash for double barrel.
Double barrel.
Tastes pretty good. It's got some flavor.
Does it taste like a double barrel?
I'm not really sure what a double barrel tastes like. I'm kind of happy about that too. It's like, tastes like cold metal in your mouth.
Cold steel.
Yeah. Who's a strain? Where is that strain from? Because I actually smoked some. I smoked some shatter from that the other day. That was a kind of a weird consistency.
I don't know exactly where it comes from. This is from my friend Jess.
Hey, I don't need so many details. I was actually asking breeders or something like that, but well, there you go.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jess. Good job on the double barrel.
It's tasty.
Yeah, and that's the thing about cannabis is to me it's more about the flavor than anything because it all comes down to that, right? I mean, obviously a high comes along with it.
flavor of hay.
No, I mean,
hay.
no, you don't. Oh, I heard something interesting yesterday. A friend of mine from California I was talking to who is a long time in the industry. Actually helped me develop Sage. I would say he developed Sage more than me, even in the sense that it's from his family, the original genetics that we got. But he ran across a Dutch guy and an American guy there in California who are developing synthetic. They're doing synthetic profiles of cannabis for concentrates. In other words, they're taking terpenes from both cannabis and non-cannabis plants. Pinene, which is in cannabis, is also in pine trees. There's crossovers. So the sources don't need to necessarily be cannabis, and they're reconstituting their own versions of sort of strain-specific hashes. In other words, they're taking crappy hash or average hash or whatever hash and flavoring it with different terpenes, which is crazy, right? I mean,
It's like some. Is it going to be now made with 30% juice?
yeah, it could be. I mean, it's like or reconstituted.
weed.
It's going to be interesting to see because also they have to have a really good starting point. They have to know. So hopefully they do that. Hopefully they have a really good sour diesel. But I mean, apparently that's what they're trying to do. They're doing like a sour diesel, and they're doing a Kush, and they're doing Granddaddy Purps, and they're doing Girl Scout Cookie, and they're just trying to do a terp profile, take the breakdown, and then fill in the gaps with whatever available. So it sounds like this sounds exactly like something that China would get involved in. Once they find out that we're
Oh man,
Consuming-
China has to be killing everyone.
consuming all this hash and we love these certain strains and that they're easy enough to break down. And then if one person shows them how to do it, they're gonna run with that one. I think, you know what I mean? Because imagine when these pens. I mean, every single pen comes from China, right? So
Yeah.
do these guys not understand what we're using these pens for? I mean, does that one person there think, you know, it's kind of scary. It's like, that's the only problem I don't like about knowing too much sometimes of certain things. Like when you know too much about concentrates, you do know that there's a very easy adulteration sort of time period, because once you're working with stuff, many people think of ways. I mean, that's been the problem in Europe or in North Africa. Is like if they use a binder or they use something because they want to skip a step, you know. If you have really good hash, it's going to stick together perfectly. It's going to turn into a nice glassy piece of hash and will crumble, you know, it's going to break into a piece and then melt back. The minute you start mixing things in, and that's when living in Amsterdam, I saw, you know, they do remixes all the time there. You know, they'll take in stuff and chop it up and break it down and
Cutting hash.
oh yeah. So that's the key to the, you know, understanding that you want to. That's why you want to grow your own and produce your own, and then you know exactly there's nothing in between. But I mean, of course, people think they're doing a good job, like they're adding some banana flavor or some bullshit that none of us as real smokers want in our lungs. But there are people out there, because I've seen these cartridges with vanilla flavors and all this stuff, and it's like, what are we trying to do here? We're trying to smoke vanilla perfume crap, or are we trying to smoke cannabis? You know, so I like the pens that you know, work straight in, bam. You just put your own product in. Anything with a plastic cartridge, I'm sketch with, because I don't think there's anything that I produce that would work. You know, unless you really go through a lot of processing. You know, as far as de-waxing it and winterizing it and all that, and then it's like,
I don't know. The glycerol still hurts my stomach.
well, that's what I'm saying, trying to do without any glycerin. But with that, yeah, anything with, yeah, anything you add into it, it's just,
Yeah.
to me, it's sacrilege. You know, it's like, you know, and the people love. I mean, some people do love the pens just because, obviously, because of, you know, it works discreetly, etc. But you got to think about your health too. You know, it's not rocket science that if you're just sucking on a smoke machine, which is basically what propylene glycol is, just smoke machine juice in a pen, you know. So yeah, I mean, I stand in a club and there's tons of smoke. Stuff ain't good for you, you know what I mean? But you're not trying to stick it like straight into your lungs, you know. So for me, propylene glycol and glycerin and all those bases are just not even an option, you know. Shouldn't be an option, personally. Sorry, all you propylene glycol lovers out there, but I'm just not a big fan.
Yeah.
Not a big fan. So that was a good little tangent. So you gotta go on these little tangents. You gotta feed
Let
me
'em know.
with something to
Swag.
About pens with their own cartridges.
Swag.
like pre-filled cartridges.
Like Delta 9-Tech or Omnicron Ophos pens with its own cartridge where you load it your own.
I mean, yeah, if you want to sit around and load cartridges, they're really. I've yet. I mean, there you can, you know, you sit there when you heat up your product to get it into the pen. You're already kind of like change the flavor a little bit of it. Like the more you do it, the more you work it, and the more you hit it with flames and stuff, then the darker it gets, and the more it sort of tastes cooked. And you know, the problem for me is anything that's like, I just want to load it, burn it, just like it's like doing a bong hit. If you give somebody a giant bowl and we all pass it around for 4 hours, it's fucking disgusting. You know what I mean? I'd rather have it like I give you a hit, you take a hit, give it. You know, it's a little bit more work, and yeah, I agree, but it's definitely from a taste point of view and from a what you should be smoking. I mean, I'm kind of over all that. I'd rather have everything be small and, you know, concise. I think is the key, in my opinion. What would you say, Flargle? He's got more wisdom than me because he has less hair. That's kind of how we're trying to think of it, but it hasn't worked out yet. Come on.
It looks like
Jeez.
Blue Man.
Yeah, I did this so I could look like a patient.
Good job.
Nah.
What do you think there? Now, Omnicron, I think, was the first
like
one. I never got one, but it was like the first one that kind of came out that was like, seemed a little more utilitarian, you know. But I think ever since I saw the ceramic tips, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, plastic shouldn't be in there.
We got a new one recently. We'll do a review next week of it because I'm
It's
just gonna.
pretty sweet.
So far, so good. It's got a deeper bowl. It's a little more recessed, and it doesn't like have the bowl that you can see. Because the problem, I do like the way those hit, the ones with the glass bowl on them. But you're back to looking like a crackhead again, just because that thing gets all dirty. You're standing around, everyone sees what you're doing. There's smoke swirling up in some little thing. It's like, it's cool if you want to show everybody, but the discreet side of it all is kind of
look like a lightsaber.
Well, I mean, I think it would be cooler if they made them taller, so that there was more smoke.
It already was pretty big. It was like this tall, like the whole pen.
What is that?
The lightsaber at the champs. You saw it.
Oh, I didn't even see that one.
It was like, and it had a pink tip for you too. It was like this lightsaber swirly thing, and then these chicks are all like, "Oh, smoke these vapes." I don't know. It looked like a
When was
lightsaber.
this? I didn't see this.
It was at it was that one vape booth.
Nah, see, that's the problem with champs. It's so big, you don't really get a chance to see everything.
It was one of the vape booths.
Even when you're there for 3 days, like myself, I somehow I missed that one. And I actually missed. There's a few people there. There's one guy called Apothecary, I think is just the name of his company, and it was. He's from Colorado Springs, and his stuff is awesome. It's like very classy, old school. Looks like it's from a real old apotheke, like a drugstore, with classic old wood, and he laser engraves everything. I only saw that guy the last 5 minutes of the show just because I didn't realize he was there, and I thought I walked the whole thing multiple times. So
yeah, I walked it multiple times, and I realized there's a whole other section I never even went to.
There you go. Yeah, that would be about right. But there were some great people there. I saw my guys from Lava Rubber. They're awesome. Gave everybody Lava Rubber. He gave me a big bag of keychains, and that stuff's great because it's made out of recycled wetsuits, so it's pretty awesome. It's like
scuba diving in the
you can
mountains.
put it. Well, the funny part was I didn't really think too much about it. I was like, oh, cool, keychains. When I gave them to everybody like was telling me how great they were because it's a perfect thing to put your bowl down on because it doesn't bang on the table. You can put your dabber down on it or whatever, and it's a little keychain that looks like a little Hood Lab logo. So pretty cool. But yeah, Lava Rubber were there. My friends from Burn Glass were there from Burlington, Vermont. They're killing the game. They gave me a video, which I haven't really had a look at. I'm pretty bad about watching videos. People hand me videos and DVDs and things to watch, and it takes me a year to watch things like that sometimes. I'll be like, oh, yeah, remember that? Should have maybe watched that. I'm sorry, guys. So I haven't watched it yet, but I will. I will check it out. And what other companies were there? There's a whole bunch. I mean, one thing I would have to say I was happy and sad was that there was no John Hamm. There was no John Hamm. There was no Ham there selling glass, and that was good because then I still have one of the more unique pieces in town. Not everybody came back with one because that thing is awesome. So there was tons of glass. My friends from Dub Glass were there. Yeah, there was a long and Nogu, of course, next door to us.
Nogu.
Couch Lock, Nogu. Dank, who was sharing our booth. We had a great week.
New stuff's looking really cool.
Who's that?
All the new Nogu stuff coming out.
Yeah, there's been a lot of controversy about Nogu with everybody freaking out, but I think there was a bad run in the very beginning. I think that's all it really was. So people still have those first run. And I know for a fact that the owner on that first run had to hand wash every single one of them out, so it was a nightmare.
And the J Radio asked if you are entering anything in the Amsterdam Cup next month.
Me personally, no. I'm going to stay here this year for the first time. My company will be entering for probably two companies. They'll do the Spanish version because we have TH Seeds. So basically, we're three companies now. We're TH Seeds with the original, and then we're TH Seeds for Spain, Iberica it's called, TH Seeds Iberica, and then here we are, TH Seeds Colorado. So I think we're going to let them take care of themselves over there in Europe. I'm going to stay here, and there's so much going on in America, and I've been to 5 cups this year, so I'm like, you know what? I'm fine hanging out for the first year in 25 years that I don't have to deal with it for once. So, and the weather here is too much nicer. It's like I can't go to Holland now and deal with that weather right now. It's just it's too much, you know. It's like no. So we'll be entering, but not me personally. So it'll be fun to watch.
Oh, did you ever see that pole vault thing over the Dutch Canal that they do?
No, I haven't seen it live. I've seen them do another version in the red light district, which is trying to walk across a wire across the dirtiest canal in the town. So that's actually more fun to watch because it's disgusting. There's like, you know, people pissing in the canal, and it's just like, are you kidding me? There's like all college kids do it every year, and they have to. It's like their little initiation or something. That was pretty awesome. That's right in front of the Hash Museum, which I used to work at, and it's like, it is the dirtiest bridge. It was like all the junkies would hang out there. It was like in the worst time with the worst days because it was summertime or springtime, so it was already kind of getting kind of foul there and stuff. That was cool. The jumping with the poles, that's like out in the country, and that was more on like they did it. I mean, it was like after like to get over those little things, they would have a pole set up and jump back and forth. So
if you want to go get groceries, you have to like pull across the canal.
Yeah, sort of. I don't know if they could go get groceries at that time, but
go get some tulips from the tulip farm.
We're not talking too recently, but I'm saying there was a time. Yeah. You got to get these concepts across.
Yeah.
So yeah, Amsterdam's Cup's coming up pretty fast. I mean, that's one of those things. It used to have a year between Cups back in the day when I was doing them for there, and it was like it came so quick, even that 1 year. And I was saying, I think I haven't really entered 5 Cups, but I've been involved with the last 5 Cups in some way, shape, or form, and it's been like in a year, and that gets kind of interesting where you're just, you know, either here at the 710 Cup, or the Secret Cups, or you know, or the regular Cannnabis Cup that comes here, you know, or having to go out of town to the other ones. It's like, man, put a lot of energy towards Cups. Like sometimes nice to just take a break, I think, and let the Cups come to us. I've also seen the Secret Cups coming back for its finals in December 14th, I believe it is, at the Oriental. That should be a pretty awesome. It's like the nationals now. They've gone all these different, like, I think he's had seven Cups, he said last time when he was here, right, in a year. So
he's gonna grab all
this will be the 8th Cup. Yeah, this will be all the winners of those are coming. They have 18 contestants, I believe, and they're all coming around the middle of December. So 2 weeks after the Cup in Amsterdam, there'll be another Cup right here. So, and it's another concentrate Cup, so it should be, and it's the finals, so it should be nothing but top quality, I would assume.
Lots of concentration.
Hey, now, with a haircut like that, you can't start talking too much about concentration. Anything's come on. So let me see where my guests are at. What time is it? Ooh, we're getting close. We are getting close. She's offline right now. I'm going to take another 2-minute break right now just because we are going to come back at 12 o'clock and hopefully have our guests here. I'd like to get them in the next 5 minutes. We'll see if they're here. If not, we will talk with our friends Gato down there in Uruguay and see how the scene is going on. See you guys back.
You see this tune? Anywhere we go in the world, we play that tune and it done the place. You see me? We just deal with sound for sound for them sound just dead. I don't agree with me, put your light on the ear.
So we are back,
Hello.
and we haven't got any guests yet. Those South Americans, they're always late. Waiting for an answer back from our friends down in Uruguay, and Lara Blanco. She should be in the studio pretty soon, but not yet at the moment. So, but until they get here, we will have our usual Flargally news session / educational minute here with us. Anything on the chat that we need to sort of address, or anybody? No call-ins. What's up with the?
Oh yeah.
We need a call-in, or at least
About the vape pen thing. I had first vape pen I got was a G pen, and that lasted me of almost like 2 years.
And your story about that is that you're just saying that now they
I
suck.
had the one G pen that didn't break.
You had the one.
I had the one.
The official. The whole pen thing, I think, is real hit and miss. If you get, if they have 1,000 delivered, probably, and there can be a breakage right off the bat of anywhere from 1% to 25 to 50%, probably. I mean, there's such crazy numbers. I've seen some of them that just don't work straight up right out of the box. You know what I
like
mean?
The one I picked up, brought it to the lab, trying to turn it on, trying to charge it.
Well, I had one that was. I had one that I had a vape ape, which I think I still have the battery for it, and it lasted through the whole show at Vegas, and it definitely lasted about another week when I got home. But that wasn't really long enough. And then I had the Ninja Pen attachment, and then that one was supposed to be the better one, and it didn't last very long either. And I got replacements for them, and we'll see how they go, but. Okay, so we are. Our friend Gato is there, so we're gonna give him a call in a sec right now, and see how he's doing and get an idea. Plus, we get a little update on what they're all about because, like I said, he is man on the street. Yes, we're gonna give him a shout and see if he picks up in a sec. And it was pretty funny. I was talking with Lara, and I'll talk with her about this when she gets here, but. She was saying she feels like a rock star here. Everybody loves anybody from Uruguay. They're like, you're from Uruguay? Just like when you're from Denver now and you go somewhere else, everyone's like, you're from Denver? Get a little rock star action. No answer. So, well, we'll check back. I mean, he says he's there, so. And, so she was saying that she was at the conferences and everybody was just like in awe of anybody from Uruguay because of what they're up to. And it's funny to see because, like I said before, this whole thing, definitely not the one country that was stand out in South America right off the bat. It was more like tucked away, and so it's very interesting to see. So still nothing on that call-in. Should maybe you hook up my thing and we can call from it?
Hi, Georgia.
Oh, there he is.
Hello.
Hey, hi, Alan. How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Fine. Here trying to plug my charger to the computer. Can you give me 30 seconds?
Of course, no problem.
Yeah.
So, it's good to be able to use Skype technology to do all this stuff. Back in the day, everything was so complicated. Now it's like everyone's on Skype.
Where is it, Joe? Luego nos ponemos a...
We'll give him another second here to plug in.
Okay, I'm here.
Hey, there you are. Of course, we're waiting for Laura. You know how that goes. But thought we would have a little chat with you since we can get us up to speed with what's going on down there.
Okay, thanks a lot, Adam. Your friend for Georgia for inviting me. And let me give you a little update. We have been working with the Uruguayan government in my case, for the last year as a consultant. And Laura and Juan has more than 10 years supporting government. And they have an association in Uruguay that is named AECU, which means Association for Cannabis Studies. And they are really close to government. And the political party that is ruling the country now is listening for the last 2-3 years, and they're giving this big step for Latin America and also for the world, because I think Uruguay, if we count on it as a succeed thing, because we know from inside it's happening in a couple weeks, I think it's the first time in the world that a country see this as a whole industry as it is, and I think Uruguay is gonna open the eyes for the other countries in the region, and I think the people have to lose the fear for a plan. It's just that a plan that can provide a lot of things we know how endless the possibilities is for a country to give this step.
Yeah, that's the message that we like to put out here too, as far as people getting used to just to the simple things, as far as like smells. And we had a problem here in Denver where they were actually about to restrict smell from even your own home, and like they've actually knocked it down. I mean, they figured out that it wasn't very smart. But I think part of living in Amsterdam for so long myself, I think it was interesting to see how the locals there just got used to it after a while, and there's not much to really deal with, as far as people are pretty mellow. There's not a lot of crime. There's not a lot of it doesn't bring on any of these things that people are scared of usually. You notice that down there too? It lowers this is going to lower the crime rate and keep people out of jail and things like that.
I think it's more crime related to liquor stores or pharmacies than to us. We are mellow people, and in Amsterdam you put a nice example. You lived there for many years, and I think the only trouble you see on the streets is when the English people came to see soccer. So they get drunk and they fight. If they don't find strangers to fight, they fight between friends.
Exactly, even amongst themselves.
Yeah, so no offense for English, but for the alcohol, it's a mess. The alcohol being legal, childs getting used to it. In Latin America, it's really normal. I think starting from Mexico, seeing kids from 11, 12, 13 drinking alcohol, and like normal thing because it's legal, and the father thinks you become a man when you start drinking or whatever, something like that.
For sure.
So tolerated, and it's sad, because we take too much time to win this war, but I think it's a nice time to celebrate, and it's the only good war to win after all. And I think that the lie is falling, and the people start seeing the truth, and now we call it doctors, and now the potheads are called patients, but it's fair. It's fair. If it's the way the government claim for what they don't earn or they don't deserve, they just want a piece of the cake, and they create all this this machine to make it happen. It's okay. If it's the way to open the door, celebrate it.
And so how do you think this distribution is going to work down there? How can you explain to people that, because for us it's kind of crazy when they talk about it being a government-run thing. Everyone kind of gets scared whenever they hear the word government. They think
I'm going to give you an idea of what I feel from being inside the government tables and stuff. They're pretty young in terms of knowledge. They don't know a lot about like talking with a politician from Canada or the States or Holland. I'm pretty sure they're going to be more educated on that matter. But these guys like Julio Calzada or the main bosses of the drug situation in Uruguay, they don't know pretty much about the industry. So they start approaching this thing as a solution for the local situation on the smokers, because the government and I think the whole region seems the pot smokers or any drug user as sick people. That's the approach they have to it. So they start to bring the talk in the table for solving the pot smokers because they smoke Paraguayan brick,
right,
which is bad for the health and a lot of money going outside the country. So Pepe Mujica, the president, started talking about pot because he wants to get the pot out of the streets. He wants the state to provide it and also get that money from the black market and solve the health issues, because a lot of kids are smoking bad for the health weed. So after they start talking that, and we saw that there's a big opportunity as a business for the country, and they don't see it or talk about it, I start bringing people from Holland. I invite like all the friends I have there, and everybody came, all the seed banks and the extraction companies, and some friends from fertilizers or food plants company, and they start seeing like there's many branches on the industry,
Sure.
and that the country can get taxes or profit from it, a nice tourism, and a lot of people start talking from different corners, so they see that it's not just a bunch of hippies that wants to be happy and stuff. They see a lot of people on ties and suits and executives and from Canada and from different corners of the world, the Czech Republic, and different people approach the government to tell them this is medicine. This is not just a bunch of kids on the street getting high and you solving that. This is a worldwide interest thing. It's a lot of things that we know that exist for the last 20 years, but some governments and papers don't want it to know. Now it's a fashion thing to talk about pot and medicine, and I think it's a worldwide current, and the whole world is going that side. So
yeah, no, it's during this whole conference. I didn't get a chance to really see it myself, but I got to hear tidbits of it, and it all seemed like it was on this sort of global legalization push, and it was definitely. There was people from North Africa here, and there's people from Central Africa. There are people from everywhere, places I didn't expect. Tanzania and Zambia, and places that were talking about legalization too. So there seems to be definitely a, like I said, global push, and even Morocco is talking now about just legalizing it.
I'm invited from the Kingdom of Morocco for going next year for a consultant work. Also, now that you're talking about it,
that's interesting.
And there's, like you say, there's unexpected countries like Cameroon, and like there's like 15 more countries that are doing their thing under they don't talk too much, they don't show nothing to the media, but I'm pretty sure. Some countries like Israel in a couple of years are gonna surprise us.
Israel's actually at the forefront of all this stuff.
Sure, they're doing medicine under the table, and someday they're gonna go out like Jules Mine, like we have this and it's ours and it's a patent product. It's smart, it's the way it should be.
Yeah, well, what I really appreciated from them was the fact that they actually let people medicate in the hospital.
Really mind forward for being a country in those big social conflicts and the stupid wars and stuff.
Yeah,
they're really mind forward, and the religion also plays an important role. Like in my country, I'm from Colombia, and in my country, the mayor from Bogota, the major city, talks about it. Just talks about coffee shop club style thing, and the whole country crucify him like he was evil. Like. He wants to sell drugs on the street, and the big bosses from the church talk. What a priest can talk about it. They don't know shit.
Yeah,
they know about the kids, molesting kids or whatever. But I hate them, dude, and I hate in my country and in Brazil is the same. Religion has to do with everything, even with things they don't know. So that's what keep us in the. Like in the closet for many years for this kind of things. But Uruguay is a really smart country, and like I was telling you, they're really new in the politics or in the drug politics. They're just starting to regulate. But I think if everything happens like we were planning, and like all the consultants we put in these tables tell them, they're gonna have for November, the end of November, they're gonna have the last paperwork sign it, and they have until the 3rd or 4th month of the next year to regulate. Yeah. And I think with the regulation, we're gonna be able to have on the pharmacies is the first try or the first step is gonna be on the pharmacies, but the product is gonna be produced by private licensed groups. Mm-hmm. And there's where we want to play. People start to ask for licenses, and we will see which groups get them or no. There's license for seeds, license for sell flowers to the pharmacies. Right. There's license to export to countries like Canada on a legal basis, like medicine, not recreational, but medicine. Canada and the new regulation allow pot on the healthcare system.
Yeah, it's amazing.
They're asking for 200 tons a year. That's the need of Canada a year on the medical field.
Right.
So it's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely groundbreaking stuff. I mean, we've dealt with this for so long ourselves as far as being growers, and I kind of gave everybody a little background on the fact that when we met in an interesting way, where you had done your article with Jorge Cervantes and done the incredible job of taking 127 varieties out to the jungle. documenting the whole thing. And, you know, the crazy thing is I try to look it up online and I cannot find that article anywhere. It's like really hard to find. I think it's like it's been.
I think I'm gonna scan it and put it on my webpage when I open it. But yeah, you say, it's difficult to find. It was like in 2005 on High Times the first time, but it was republished again like 4 or 5 times by themselves.
Yeah.
Also the Bible of Cervantes and many other magazines, Cáñamo in Spain, in Chile.
Yeah.
It was a big article, and the best part of it is that most of the people that I talk about it think that THCs, or you do an agreement with me or something. I have to say that in public that I don't even know you or THCs in person before this. I just go, and with Mila in between, I tell her to collect a pack of every strain on the main seed banks, like 12 or 13 seed banks, and Mila does it for me. She's the witness that all this is true, and I collect all the seeds in Mila's shop. So I let her do everything to collect them. So I don't want to be like door by door knocking every seed bank and telling them what I want to do. And basically what I do was the whole year from 2003 to 2004, trying all these strains in Colombia under the same greenhouse, same growing media, same grower, same everything for every one of them, and to check each of them who's better, not what you read on the advertising or what you hear or there, whatever. But at the end, it was not just my decision or my but the whole 60 friends that were all the judges or my close circle group of friends. We do a party for 4 years in an enclosed, let's say, farm, and we cook and we do everything there, and we test. We take the time to test them all. And THCs and 3 of your varieties were not just favorites, but overall winners because they were more easy to manicure, more botrytis resistant, and the dense, heavier. People, everybody that was there was educated on the matter, and they know what was good. And everybody loves them. Easy to grow, and they sweet very well under the greenhouses, heavy producers, and big hash yielders. That is one of the things that I most like to make hash, and they were really, really supreme.
Yeah, it was
really overall winners, totally.
Yeah, and as you noticed, we've milked that article as hard as we could as far as using it as a main focus in our advertisements for the longest time because, like we said, we love unbiased information like that.
It was true. It was the truth, and I tell it in the cup without trying to harm nobody. I don't even have an idea of how the advertising of this type of things can be used against or in favor. I just tell the truth on my experiment, and I hurt some sensibilities, but whatever, it's part of the past, and I think it was good for the company and good for the community to know that somebody who tried them all at the same time found who was really the best. And
no, it was. I mean, obviously we loved it. For us, it was a big high five.
That was why we met each other, because before that, I was not licking your balls or saying like, I was just saying the truth, and most of the people think like, THC pays for it or whatever, but I have to confirm now.
That's one thing you can guarantee. You can guarantee we never pay for nothing. We're really bad about that, That's the one thing. We're like, oh, really? Pay? Oh, yeah.
You know how people is, and they're always think money buys everything, but
no, for sure. And I loved that article, and I loved that whole. But the thing that amazed me the most, and what impressed me the most, as far as it was the photos that you took at the time, because it's 2005. You were also kind of like ahead of the game on technology. It seemed like you had, good high-res photos in the middle of the jungle and kept everything super clean. And I think the most impressive one to me was the fact that you got all those washing machines out there to process and didn't even ding them up or nothing. They were like in perfect condition. It was like, so I remember showing people and being like, come on now, look at your washing machine that's in your house. It's all dirty and banged up. This guy brought it out to the jungle and managed to keep it in perfect condition.
We definitely have fun a lot of fun, and we train a lot of people and change lives, because at the end I was not the owner of these old projects. I was the guy who bring the technology and the strains and teach them how to do it. So I get along with a lot of people in different countries, and you make kind of brotherhoods with the good ones. You teach them well, The ones that have skills learn, and now most of them are living from it. So
That's
it
awesome.
changed lives. Most of people, let's say in Mexico or Colombia, where you used to see people with bad habits, or let's say bandits in parentheses,
Sure.
But you change lives with it, because who learn how to make life from a plant is never gonna go backwards to do bad,
Yeah, no, and it's
that simple. And they become their own bosses. Everyone who has a backyard have their plants, supply themselves, and supply for some friends, and they make a couple bucks, and you know how it is. It's just
Yeah, no, for sure. It's the same kind of thing in multiple levels too. Especially when you go to somewhere that's super poor and you bring some sort of way for them to make money. That's awesome. And also even here in like single moms growing in their house, and supporting their kids here is the same situation, just in a microcosm. And it's kind of like. That's one of the things about Colorado, which was kind of a bummer, is the fact that they don't let you sell to the shops here as a small-time grower. You have to be a shop to grow. So they've taken it kind of like, they made it more professional, but at the same time kind of knocked out those little small people who used to support themselves, at least having an easy access to getting cash for it. Now they sort of force them under the black market again, which what do you think about the black market down there? You think it's going to just disappear, or do you think it's going to evolve and go into a different...
I think that's the biggest challenge government have, because they're planning to sell the biggest boss on drugs in Uruguay, say $1, which I think is a joke, because the dollar can be the cost of production, and then he has a lot to put on top of it, like distribution, taxes, and etc. A lot of things and hands are gonna touch that gram before it goes to the counter. And I think
maybe like $2.
If you sell it here for $2-3, and in Brazil the same gram costs $25 to $30.
Yeah,
I think there's a huge fucking hungriness for pot in Brazil.
Yeah,
and they have to solve it. They have to create, let's say, coffee shop style or clubs or something for the tourism, because at the beginning they want just to solve the local problem, but the local problem is 100,000 kids.
Yeah.
The Uruguay is a small country, which is 3 million something, and half of the population lives outside or is really old people.
Yeah.
So they don't have youth. They don't have a Friday night party every day, every week, or they're kind of mellow, or a slow mood country. So they need some dynamic kind of change, like to see people on the street, to see the hotels full, to see the restaurants, to see, like people going there. And I think the grass is, if you take the grass and the hookers out of Amsterdam, how you picture the city, is...
Yeah, no, I mean, the realities are a lot of times, living in Amsterdam for so long too, that people there don't want to admit it, but I mean, that is the focus of the, like, at least...
Yeah, I mean, like the good people or religious people hate that, but the reality is that shit brings a lot of people into the city. And when you go to Amsterdam, you don't spend all your money in grass. You have to pay a hotel, eat, you have to, you have to spend. And I think that's what Uruguayan government is not seeing. If they say they just want to solve the local problem, it's like being shut eyes for the rest of the industry. And I think that's what most of the companies that are arriving there the last weeks are trying to make them understand, that there's a lot of branches to explode or to make part of the business.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I'm getting I think your nephew / uncle somewhere close by, Mr. Anthony. I'm getting a message from him, so I'm sending him, finding out where they are at. So, no, it's been really crazy over here with this whole. We're coming down to 2 months until we have to come up with our recreational rules here and how it's going to all work. So I think it's kind of crazy how all over the world they're trying to come up with ways to make this work, and I don't think any of them are going to be exactly the same. I think everybody's got a little bit different angle of what's, especially for their local...
Every country have their needs,
Exactly. Their population has a different different situation. And over here, I mean, when people hear $1 a gram, they also are like, what? But the reality is, I mean... I've got it down to. I mean, you can get it down to 30 cents a gram if you're working it properly. I mean, that's not
Yeah, I
hard.
tell them that. I think they get the number from a conference we give them in how to lower the cost. And I tell them if we make 100 hectares on greenhouses, we can make it to 30, 40 cents, like you're saying. But
Exactly.
there's a big machinery after that. They have to keep it, secure it, and take care of it. The farmers, whatever, who's going to sell it, need a part of it. Government taxes. I'm pretty sure the cost of production can be double or triple after to be in the counter, and it's still being really cheap. Most cheap than never in life you can find good pot for $2-3, and I think that's what's gonna happen here. But not one. One is too short.
Yeah, no, and that is the classic thing. As far as we are in the same world. As far as people use us as consultants, and they love to. Everyone wants to hear the lowest number possible. So and the reality is the range is so ridiculous because it all depends on production volume, and so at the same time, I would probably have quoted the exact same number because I would have told somebody, we can have it at 25 cents or 30 cents. It's just however big you want to go with this thing.
If you take the illegality out of the equation, it becomes into a vegetable or a flower growing. The illegality is what makes it difficult and expensive worldwide. But if you put it in a legal context and you make numbers, I already make here with 10 hectares project with some Canadian company building the greenhouses. And the greenhouses are the biggest investment for a project like this. And the companies who build the greenhouses give you 10 years to pay them. So you don't have, after all, you don't have to invest, or nobody have to invest. For us here in Uruguay, the project costs like $20 million, including properties and everything, and 15 millions are from the company, and they give you time to pay. So the plant pay for itself, It's so worth it. These big projects on greenhouses are made to sell food for $2-3 a kilo of tomatoes or whatever. So our thing has to be more profitable, and any government and any big group has to be interested. And now it's medicine, worldwide talking about medicine, and it's no more difficultness. Here in Uruguay, everything passed fast because it was medicine, and they cannot deny the right to a person to get better or feel better.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, the whole medical side too. Also, one of the things that happened here, and I don't know about down there, but one thing we have legalized on top of the legalizing cannabis for recreational here, we've also legalized hemp production, and America's about to sort of step off onto a new plateau where it comes with all this production of, some massive productions of hemp in the next few years, and hopefully become a leader. And it might even start here in Colorado, it seems like. So what's going on down there in South America? Is there anybody taking hemp seriously?
It's cool that you talk about it, because here in Uruguay we have the first hemp fields with license, but the company who is exploiting them is Latin American Hemp Trading. It's a good friend, Fabrizio Giamberini, from Italian family, but he's Uruguayan. But they're not developing like a big industry. They have the license and they are growing, but maybe Dunn with Chafter. Remember him?
Yeah, I just met. He was in my shop 3 days ago.
Dunn was here with me in Uruguay for a couple. He has been here 2-3 times, and he helped me to consult the government of Uruguay also about the hemp.
Yeah.
And how passionate Dunn is about hemp and how much he knows.
Yeah.
He's kind of a Bible type of Jack Herrer.
Sure.
He loves that. So he's the person who is trying. And now that you mentioned, I have to say that Ben Drunkers from Sensi do a great thing, a great gesture with some friend here in Argentina. His foundation support the hemp reawakening in Chile, because Chile had hemp from 1500s, really back in the days. And we used to grow hemp in Latin America, but because of American situation with 43 Act and that shit, they stopped growing it. It was not more profit on it. But it's trying to revive, and Uruguay, I think, is going to be important on that field, because we already have it, but we don't have an outside company that says, I want the seed or I want the fiber.
Yeah.
So I think we have to talk about it later and do something about it, because if there's somebody who say we produce this or we extract this fiber or we whatever to do, man, is definitely happening because there's nobody yet producing nothing. The fields are here, but no company are investing or interested.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's kind of what's happening here for the moment. But I know a few different parties that are all trying to kind of scramble to be the first. I'm trying to talk with Ben also. Probably going to talk to him in the next few shows about what his situation is, because he is definitely looking at Colorado as maybe being a spot for hemp flax to develop their. Because they have the machinery, and that's the thing. They've been doing it since I worked for them in 92, 93 when they first started. Back then they didn't have the machinery. Everything rotted on the field. It was similar, exact same situation that's happening down there. They'll just do it for the sake of doing it, because it's beautiful to see. And
and someday, it
does help the soil.
Back,
Yeah, oh, for sure. And like what happened this year in Colorado, when we went to help harvest, was in Springfield, which is South Colorado. Completely, the town was sort of boarded up. There was not much going on. There was one farmer down there who grew 60 acres. He came in late, unfortunately. So a lot of his seed kind of got strangled out by the local sort of grasses that were growing there. But symbolically, he did have.
Means a lot.
Yeah, symbolically it was huge, and also the thing is it was all seeded very heavily, so whatever was there got heavily manhandled as it got taken out, dropped a ton of seed, so that spot will actually work again, and just keep kind of working that one plot of soil. And just to start with that little 60-acre thing, it got worldwide fame for sure. And the really cool part about where they're at is they're surrounded by 6 states within about an hour in each direction, and all those states don't have medical. They're all very, not
suitable for hemp, like Kentucky or whatever.
Super. Well, actually, we're in the middle, but it is definitely suitable for hemp. Yeah, they're like Kansas, Nebraska, and these states that are.
And America owns a lot to that plan, so it will be a nice takeover again. Like a revenge of the bonanza of hemp again.
Exactly. Well, I mean, it's a long time coming, that's for sure. But at the same time, it's such a good revenge because all it does is bring prosperity and jobs to everybody. So it's kind of
there.
Yeah, I'm here. You hear me?
Hello.
Did we lose you?
Shows I'm still on here.
Well, we'll see. If he's still there. If not, we can give him a call back. Oh. Very interesting guy, Gato, as you can tell. He's got a lot to tell. You there now?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect.
Okay, good. So I was just explaining that, definitely you got your finger on the pulse down there with what's going on. There seems to be so much activity on all sides of the planet right now, and it's good to have, prime people in good spots doing stuff, because all it takes is, just guidance in the right direction, and I think we can have some, you can save them so much energy by introducing good strains and giving them the guidance on the growing side, which
making them digestible,
Yeah, no, for sure, and also the fact that you grow in a little bit different climate than we do here. What is like the relative humidity there normally? What is the deal? Give us a little idea of the weather down there and how it.
We have a high humidity season.
What's that?
Sorry. we have a high humidity season, which is the highest rates of the year when it's in the winter and in the hottest day of the summer. But with nice greenhouses and good air control, with spending money on the greenhouses, we can control that.
Yeah, and so are you guys doing mostly greenhouse, or are you doing a lot of completely out, like 1 or 1.5 cycles outdoor?
No, we don't do any cycle outdoor. We put it all under greenhouses, keep it all steady, the same amounts, and no curve under the production on the year.
Yeah, that's kind of the direction that people are wanting to go here. Colorado we're pretty amazing location just because of the fact that we're a mile up straight off the bat, so our UV levels are really high, but also it's dry here. It's like extremely dry. And even in the winter when, snow is falling and it's still a very dry air. So we have situations here where we're pretty much having to add humidity even when we're drying, or else it'll dry. It'll dry.
Yeah. You have the opposite thing. We
Yeah.
need to dry there. You need to humidify there.
Exactly. So it's a completely different situation, but it actually makes it interesting because you can really get. I'd rather be on this side of the fence, I guess, with the drier side, just because I've lived in that high humidity in Amsterdam for so long that
It's a pain in the ass.
you felt like you're working all day just to sort of keep it normal, And here it's kind of like it's a lot easier to add water in. Usually, get a little sloppy. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, totally. I used to work in southern Spain or northern Mexico, where the air is fucking dry, like where you are, and I love it. To flower is perfect because you're not worried about your best flowers, and in other cases you have to run and being on top of it. And the humidify is always a nightmare. But with the big companies of greenhouses, we can solve that. Investing, and now that is legal, is the best because you can invest without running to nowhere or without any worries. You have to concentrate on your plants and then lowering the cost of production, and it turns into an agricultural thing. Like I tell you, like strawberries or tomatoes are really delicate, but there's ways to insurance your product with technology. You have just to dry there, and it costs a lot. And let me tell you, it's really difficult. But it's the only way to flower under greenhouse. But I think, like you were saying, I'm seeing the last 5 years a lot of greenhouses in the States with the medical scene growing, and I think it matched with my reality in the last 20 years. I started in Miami in '93 or something with indoors, and I keep it like that for 3 years. But when I go to Colombia and I start putting my plants, the ones that I don't want in my indoor, and I take them out to a little shelter with a plastic cover, and they start getting better than the ones indoors. So I'm more big, and I found out that on the greenhouse, if you have the proper conditions and the skills, you can get really, really close to indoors. Not the same, but really good product.
Yeah, for sure. And there's been some incredible greenhouse production going on here, like inside the city, actually.
Incredible, incredible greenhouses I've seen in the States and companies.
There's I think there's the biggest one I've seen is 40,000 square foot here in town, but it's like literally in the center of town, So it's kind of like interesting to see where they didn't say it had to be out in the farmlands or anything. It was like right behind their industrial spot downtown and next to the ghetto almost, and it's like
he's the one where Laura and William were taken, right?
They went to check out one. There's a few. I don't know if they went to that one. I actually asked her. She said I think that the diplomats all went over to see that one, and that they weren't allowed to go see it because they were growers. They didn't actually want them to see some of their secrets. I think it's the classic. The person who should see it the most probably didn't get to see it. I tried to actually send Laura down to a friend of mine who has a shop called Maggie's Farm here in Colorado, which is the only shop that actually only grows outdoors. So, but the problem was that they were down to 13 plants, and it was about 2 hours south of where she was at. So I thought it was a little bit too far just to see 13 plants left over. But they do about 800 plants outdoors. And, they had 6-pounders. They had 6-pound Dark Stars coming out of there. So they had anywhere from like half-pound plants up to like, that 6-7 pound plants. So, but it was very, very far and few between will you find anybody doing any major outdoor here as far as for dispensaries because it's too hard to maintain,
Yeah, I think the cost of production there is really high, and the cost of like social security for everybody, and keep it going there is a little more difficult than if it happens in other countries. So big companies are going to start looking for product in other.
Yeah, it's been hard.
Easy to make. I don't know. Is what I think. Like in any product.
It's been actually hard here. But what's funny to see is the backlash of reality check to what people think they're going to get in the first couple years of getting into this industry, because a lot of people came in either from maybe from pure ag, like they were doing regular crops before, and they just thought the dream crop finally is here. But the first thing they learn is that cannabis is a lot of work, and people are very finicky and very finicky about what they pick, and they change in desires by the day. What is like down there? Is there like a lot of focus on strains or types, or is it just kind of like, are people getting used to it, or are they're?
I think there's a good opportunity for for breeders or for any company to come and ask for licenses in that field, because they're not really focused on that. They give you a research and development license, and you can do on your enclosed door project. You can play. It's your research. So they are not focused on register or in things like that. 4 or 5 varieties for their project. That is for locals, that is for like the people who buy brick.
Yeah.
They want to sell that in the pharmacy, but that's the first step. And then they have the clubs that are gonna come later for tourists and the seed sales. And even if Uruguay is not an attractive market for selling nothing there, you can just set your company there and operate from there. So
No, that sounds really awesome. So it looks like we Anthony's lost. He's trying to find us. So I'm gonna send my friend out to give them a call and see where they're at. So you can go out of the room, call them.
Yeah, but she should be there, but maybe she's really lost.
No, they are really lost, actually. Anthony just called. So just call Anthony, tell him how to get here, and we'll try to get him in for the last 10 minutes at least. It's probably all right. It's probably okay anyway, because I know Laura was real nervous about coming on. So, and I already figured you and I would end up doing all the talking.
I have to thank you, Adam, for inviting me and giving you a little update from here. And, guys, you have a partner down here. We can update everyone and let you know what's happening on a regular basis, because I know the world is looking here and it's interesting.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, last week we actually talked with a senator from St. Thomas and St. Croix, and they're talking about decriminalizing and legalizing and hemp production, even on that island, which is a American island. So it seems like even the Caribbean is now following suit.
Caribbean is the shed with pod.
and I mean, it would be perfect marriage to get tourism down there, feeling comfortable again. And I think the same thing for Uruguay. I think you guys are going to see a huge increase of people coming just to see this thing they've been hearing about. Plus, in the next few months,
the smartest thing that a country can do is call for potheads. We smoke, and we don't do noise or bother nobody.
No.
We eat well. We like good traveling hotel. We go just to fuck and restaurants, and we don't do troubles. We're good people. The drunks are worse.
2 minutes away.
2 minutes away, we have your uncle-nephew combo. And Lara. I like him. He's great. We got along real well. He's like, I'm really his uncle, but I'm 14 years younger than you or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
That's always an interesting conversation. So, I think right now the eyes of the world are based on Denver, Uruguay, and a few other places on the planet as far as sort of leaders of this whole industry. And luckily enough that we're all kind of doing it for the right reasons. There it's socially, it's maybe more of even of a social experiment than over here. Over here, it's kind of the reason why I think Colorado worked is because we said from the beginning that it was for profit. People weren't lying about it. Like California kind of did this whole not for profit thing, but yet everybody was making tons of money. So I think that's kind of one of the things that people don't want to see is
you organize the shit. You have that point. You really talk to the government how serious the shit can be, and make it serious and make it interesting for them.
Yeah, and is the medical situation there being recognized as steadily as it is here, or is it just in patches or major cities, or is it nationwide already? Or
they see the potential, and there's a program that a guy named Raquel Peiragüe rules, and start bringing Bedrocan from Holland. That's how backwards she were trying to do it. So we tell them we have to produce it locally.
Yeah.
And we're gonna start. We're gonna start because we already have some patients and some testimonial videos, and the doctors are onto the bus. And we're starting. You have to have in mind that Uruguay is a really small country, and it's just a small step, but means a lot. Like you say, we have like 30 patients already, but it's nothing compared to big countries. But it was the first steps, and to win the government recognize that value, And,
for sure.
They already medical program, and they let this girl Perague, they let her do a sponsored by the government video clip on the national TV talking about that, talking about what's coming on the new regulation about medical marijuana and about the right the people are gonna have for getting it if they see it as a possible medicine or whatever. And yeah, I think it's not so big, or they're doing not so much noise like in other countries should be, but it will be a lot of repercussion in Brazil, and that's what I see. The potential of Uruguay is they're gonna start.
It's going to start like a wave. Start the wave.
Yes, it's a tsunami thing, because you see that in Denver was not just the people from Uruguayan government, was also people from the Chilean government and from the Brazilian government. So even if they don't talk public yet about it, I'm pretty sure they're seeing it, because OEA, the OEA does like the branch of ONU for Latin America.
Right.
The OEA makes, or the ONU makes a study of 2 years about politics on drugs, and the conclusion for Latin America of the main guy, which is Miguel Insulza. He's the boss of the region, and he say to every country in the region that he has not right to tell or to order every country what to do with their own laws, but he suggests that every country should start reviewing the politics on drugs, starting for pot. So every country here in Latin America is starting from marijuana, and they're trying to do something, and I'm not thinking they're gonna cross hands to see other countries getting the good part of it.
Well, I mean, I think the biggest obstacle for the longest time has been the American government anyway, because of the fact that it's all this NATO treaty drug policy sort of things that
they opened the bulb, and all the pressure is releasing now.
Yeah. So now the fact that here is, I mean, even Washington D.C., which isn't even officially a state, but has its own government is allowing medical marijuana now. So they're failing actually as a program, though, because they have 56 people now on board or something like that. It's not very many, right? You're from D.C. Come on, get on it.
It was like 90.
90 people in Washington D.C. 90 people. See, so some places it doesn't work because people are too paranoid there to do it because it's in the Capitol.
It's in the Fed's backyard.
It's like having the Vatican. I guess if the Vatican does medical, then we know we've won. I guess that would be the one, because if Washington D.C. did it, the Vatican could pull it off. You know what I mean? We could have medical marijuana at the Vatican. That's a goal. There's a goal for us.
Nice.
So the 2 minutes from. See, I was saying this earlier. I think
they got lost again.
They got lost probably in the hallway here now. This is the last 2 days here for them, right? They're leaving town on Thursday, the same day as me. So, and then they're going to come. Yeah, I'm going to. We're actually opening up a sister store to my shop here in Denver, out in San Francisco on Saturday. So
nice. Frisco's the shit.
Yeah, so it's going to be the Hood Lab San Francisco. So we'll have to talk about Uruguay and.
But talking about sisters, we have to develop the idea you have of sister cities on a festival or something artistic between these two cities.
Yeah, see, that's what I said. I'm like the sluttiest city in the world, because every time I have somebody on here from a cool place, I'm like, let's be sister cities, So we're gonna be like the sluttiest town out there. We are slut sisters with all these towns. Like, yep. I'm your sister too, but yeah, I like the
government also support. We have support from the government for bring musicians or whatever that makes noise and brings people in.
Hey, I'm down. That I'm down 100% for that, and I think also the fact that we are opposite seasons is a huge thing too, which people don't get.
Yeah, sun seekers, buddy. We are sun seekers.
Because you are actually about to put the plants in the ground. It seems like right around now, huh? Are you? How long till you actually? What time of year do you guys put your seed in for your? You on a year round because it's in the greenhouse. But if it was on a normal season, when would it be?
Yeah, I have a season normally based. The weather here when it's winter, people used to stop. But now that I'm building my greenhouses with all the technology and stuff, I don't have to stop. I just spend more energy trying to cool them on the summer and to heat them and humidify them in the winter. But yeah, they're gonna be really automatized, and it's the shed. There's other guy responsible for the humidify and temperature, so I'm happy for it.
Nice, nice.
I have somebody to blame on it.
Yeah, there you go. That's always good to have that, isn't it? Yeah, over here, like I said, their greenhouse technology is definitely boosting up. I have some friends from Holland who have just relocated here to Denver, and they're some of the biggest greenhouse suppliers out there. And they basically see that the fact that there's no point of not being here since everybody who's got a dispensary right now realizes that if they want to make the financial financially makes no sense to not have a greenhouse because we got 300 days of sun here, which is awesome. And
Indoor you count your harvest on ounces, and greenhouse you count it on pounds.
Exactly. And that's
a big difference.
And also from a hash production point of view, it's awesome because those plants tend to be massive and produce a ton of material to work with. And you can grow completely organic and keep it kind of like,
And it's the only way to make the price a little social because pot is still being expensive everywhere. So every year that people have more, the prices are going to be a little down. So it then becomes affordable for most people who don't have enough money because, the good pot is like executive price. It's difficult to get for a normal worker or... Yeah, there's some things in the state that cost $500, $600, $700 an ounce.
Hey, one thing I'm curious about. Up here in Denver, we're known for concentrates. Everybody here is concentrate mad. Everybody's is doing BHO and CO2 extractions. And how is the concentrate game down there? Is anybody on top of that, or is it just sort of just alien technology at this point?
Totally alien. Some people have friends that came from the States or Europe or whatever, and a couple friends bring 1 gram or 2 and share with other friends. But it's a out of this world thing that there's some kids that try to play with it, but it's more the accidents or the shitty product that goes out of it.
Yeah.
I think and most of it is because they're not too much affordable products or technology easy to get, like gadgets or whatever.
Sure.
And the other thing is they're not so familiar with it. There's just a couple kids, but it will came like in the States.
It's pretty much taken over in America.
Yeah, it's a takeover totally.
And there's kids here who like maybe been smoking a couple years and they don't even know what flowers are anymore.
Yeah, I was talking about it with a friend that I'm afraid of that. It's the only thing I'm afraid of, the ignorance and the potency of the extract mixed together. That's a bad cocktail.
Exactly.
Some kids that, like you say, 14, 15 years, they start on extracts and they never go backwards. They don't even know a flower in their lives. And now in 10 years, we cannot say how they're going to look. I have 30 years smoking pot and I feel okay, but I don't know if I can smoke every day since I wake up until I go bed. Those things, that shit's strong, buddy.
It is strong.
Sometimes, and
it is strong. It is strong. I mean, you do get. It is. I think it's one of those deals where if you exactly like you're saying, if you wake up in the morning and you're hitting on it, and then you're hitting all day, and then you go to bed and you're still hitting on it, it's one thing. But what I do notice with the concentrates. From a experienced old school smoker point of view, you can definitely keep things like you can medicate in a real precise way, and if you got the right product, you're satisfied on one hit. And I'm amazed at how little I smoke compared to when I'm rolling joints, and I'm kind of just rolling a joint, and then before I've even finished the one joint, I'm rolling the next joint. So
release, and you can adjust, turn it, light it again, and let it on your night table, things like that. With the joint, you control and you enjoy. But with that shit, it's like they hit you with a bat on your head.
It can definitely knock you back a notch or two. But at the same time, once again, I'm saying I've watched kids here. And I wouldn't say always kids because a lot of these guys are my age, but I've watched people smoke a massive amount of high quality concentrates and have absolutely no real negative looking effects at all. And I think a lot of it's to do with
I've seen them too, and I can understand how they can smoke a gram in 2 hours and keep being normal,
Yeah, no. So I think a lot of it is purity. You know what I mean? The quality of the product is super pure. And then there's really no problem of smoking massive amounts of it. It's just it's maybe cost effective at that point, but at the same time, it's definitely a lot better than people smoking a lot of crappy weed, which like you were saying about Paraguay, when I was in Brazil, probably about
Oh, man, that's sad what they smoke.
yeah, when I was in Brazil, that's all that was really offered to me, and it was like, wow, this is really really bad. This is like the worst. It's like, and I was with a friend there, and he really wanted to grow, and I brought him some seeds, but it was actually pretty hard to find even quality soil there, which was weird because you're in Brazil thinking, oh well, it's going to be some awesome soil, but it didn't seem like it was really hard to find what we were looking for. It was like very red clayish kind of heavy soil that was definitely not suitable for cannabis, you know. So I think it must be a huge market for importing the right products there and stuff at this point still too, right? So companies that are out there maybe listening to the show should sort of think about focus on South America for their some of their products, I would assume, huh?
Totally.
Yeah. Do you have any kind of trade shows down there like we do? As far as I mean, you did have a Cannabis Cup, I believe, at one point, or your own version.
I have some here in Argentina. I win 5 first prizes last year between Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay.
Nice.
But they are small versions, you know, like 150 people. They're not so big advertising because they're all underground.
Sure.
They cannot, you know, take pictures. People still afraid of appear, and there's a lot of repression from the government. The passions here, people loves the thing, but they're still afraid of getting out of the closet and say I smoke or I grow or
Yeah.
you know.
No, it's a big step. It's a big step, and it has been for a lot of places in the world. Here in America now, I think everyone's finally comfortable. When I first came back in 2010, you know, a handful of my friends were definitely, you know, balls out, didn't care, driving down the road with plants in their car. Hey, they got they have their card, they're protected. So, I mean, I actually felt safer here than I did when I went back to Amsterdam, and that's one of the reasons I moved here is because I felt like I had the feeling like, yeah, this is it. You know, people are finally comfortable in their own skin and being who they are and being able to be, you know, cannabis friendly all day, every day, which is what we are. And that's, you know, as growing up, it was definitely more difficult. I think now people are over it, and now I think the whole world is actually looking towards, like I said, Uruguay and Denver and all these places to just see what normality is, you know. Which is cool.
Yeah.
Great, and it's great to be it's great to be part of the responsible ones to hand that off to the public. You know, now I just hope that the public doesn't turn into the mindless dab heads that we were talking about, where just people don't remember that there's flower orientated and there's growing into, you know, incorporated. And I think we will do that. I think it's just going to be.
It's nice that you say that word responsible, because one of the things that I don't feel that old. But yeah, we pass over 30s, and I think one of the things that most afraid me is that when a business becomes so big, gives space to a lot of clowns. So I see every day hundreds of seed banks, different offers, and there's a lot of people clowning the other people, and new kids every day asking for different things. So that's the sad part. The whole market and the whole business is gonna be mixed with a lot of shitty and bad things, but yeah, it's part of the game.
Part of it, yeah. Well, it's, you know, I would compare it to hip hop in the '80s compared to now, basically, where you'd go like there was quality in the beginning because there was a lot less people doing it, and there was, you know, there's a few good, there was some great, there was some not so great, but there was definitely quality within there. And now there's just such a massive amount of crap out there, and, you know, at the same time, probably a few of those originals are still out there, holding it all together, because really without the originals,
and making millions, saying nothing on a track.
Yeah, exactly. And now there's even, like, you know, stuff out there where it's all auto-tune crap. And
you see the Korean guy? Oh, dude.
No, not him. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that guy. You mean
the world, man, for making that guy so rich. Shit can be so popular.
Gundam style, yes, exactly.
Yeah, that shit, that kind of thing, man.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, and that's kind of what we're up against. You know, it's like the fact that the whole world is becoming kind of animated in one side, but at the same time, we're finally winning our little war, which has taken 20 plus years, and at the same time,
it's only good war to feel good for winning.
I mean, 70 plus years, but our personal fight of maybe 20 plus years, and it's all kind of coming together, which is awesome to see. And yeah, that's like I always tell everybody, I came back to America to be front row for this show, you know, because it is a show in a sense. It's like every day is like, wow, what, states are dropping like flies. Everywhere is becoming more liberal and relaxed, and
Yeah.
places like Massachusetts are talking, they're on board. Everybody's on board, and I grew up in those little stiff kind of zones.
It's good to be part of it, definitely.
For sure.
To live,
Yeah.
to live in this time to see it happening.
Well,
you know?
and imagine for all of us happy people that are happy that this war. I mean, imagine all the people on the other side who are like, finally figured out that they've been lied to this whole time, and they've been fighting a lame fight, and so it's interesting to see how that fallout's going to be, because there'll be plenty of disillusioned people when they see the whole world going against what their ideals that they thought were the reality.
Totally. I'm looking forward to see you there and visit you someday. I think I can next year or whatever to see what's going on in Denver. I have a lot of work until next year here in Uruguay, but I want to see the States free. I lived there for many years, and I live being part of the repression, and I want to see it free.
Yeah, no, and it's definitely possible for us to still experience it all too. It's not like we're in our deathbed or something, which is awesome to see, because I mean, for me, one of the personal heroes was Jack Harrar, because he kind of opened my whole eyes.
Yeah, buddy.
He opened my eyes to the whole hemp thing. And when you read his book, even to this day, it's like, it's written super intelligent as far as it made me the perfect guy to not get into an argument with. Yeah. Here they are with their, let's see, we're down to 1 minute overtime. There you go. That's how great the time is.
The thing of Jack is he was not a pothead until he was so adult. No, he was a normal citizen.
Exactly.
And he loved his country, and he was part of the life. And then he see the truth, and that was the best part of that. He was not a pothead of his life.
Yeah, exactly. And then he also, I think Laura was telling me that she ran into Chris Conrad and Mickey. And
yeah, Laura was really happy that she met them by casualty. It was on the schedule to meet them, but anyway, the universe conspired to her meet them. So nice.
So we are now being joined at the very final minutes with our special guest. But we've been talking for a while with Gato about all sorts of stuff, so we're pretty up to speed with a lot of things, but we definitely wanted to touch base because that was the whole idea of getting you in the studio. Lara was here for the drug policy convention that was going on that brought people from all over the world to check out what was going on here in Denver and also discuss what was going on globally. And I mean, it was a long conference, right? It was about a week long. Was it a total week?
4 days.
I was like, oh, you sound like Mila now. You have the Mila voice after a week. This is every time she interviews at the end of the shows, it's always like, you can tell it's the end of the show for Mila.
I tell you that the things are so strong. Laura was not prepared.
No, well, I mean, now she's
suffering on those dabs, right, Laura?
Yeah, well, dabs here is wow.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Dab City.
Yeah, I think I don't get too rough, but I guess it's also the altitude too. It's the dryness. There's a lot of combinations here. If you come here from a warm, tropical, moist place, and then you're in up in the high altitude, which kind of messes with you sometimes, and then on top of that, the dryness. That's the one thing everyone has to get used to is the dryness factor. But we were talking about it earlier. From a growing point of view, it's awesome. But from a living point of view, you have to kind of take care of yourself a little different, especially when you're not used to it. So you were here. Were you here specifically to see anybody in particular or meet anybody when you came, or was it more just to see the whole convention and how it went down?
Particularly, we are most interested of visit growers and see what's happened. You know, the conference is very important, but I think it's more important what happens in the lobbies and of the hotel and the street and smoking outside the conference. Anyway, I assist many conferences that are very, very, very important. Edibles, extracts, dabs. Dabbing, what the showing will be is the name for the conference. I think this is the best one of all.
So the future of smoking,
but
basically.
I came here for more days than the conference was, almost 2 weeks, because all was happening here in Colorado. Interesting. It's very interesting for us because of our regulation have to, we have to regulate what happens in Uruguay, but it's always very, very, very important. See what the other people was doing.
Yeah. And did you, so you got a chance to see a bunch of grow operations here, and did you get to go, in the end, I was trying to get you in touch with a friend of mine, I was telling him earlier from Maggie's Farm. He said he only had 13 plants, and it was about a 2-hour drive south of where you guys were at, so I thought, you've seen more than 30. If it was more than 13 plants, I might actually, but there was a few of my bubblegums out there that were still out in the field, and I think those were, 7-8 pound plants. I know the pounds always throw everybody off too, so it's probably like about a 3.5 kilo plant finished product or something like that. Did you get to see any outdoor stuff while you were here, or was it?
Okay. I hope to go to Pueblo yesterday, but I can see outdoors. I only see indoors. I want to live well, and it's like a fabric industry. Company.
Yeah.
Big, huge, too much. They say 13 tons on an year is too much. It's like
no, there's definitely some big operations here in Colorado. They there's a lot. There was a lot of industry in this town before. Also, the airport itself, it actually moved from town to where it is now. So all the warehouses that were for the airport are now being converted into. A lot of them are converted into these grows, and a 500 light operation in Colorado is not even a big deal anymore. It's people talking thousands of when they start talking about lights now in bigger operations. To me, it's a little bit of a shame because I would like to see more outdoor growing here, just because of the fact that we do live in a sunny place that's 300 days a year sun. And when we were talking with Gato, he mentioned that pretty much all greenhouse growing down in Uruguay at the moment, mostly compared to because obviously indoor it doesn't seem to be nearly as interesting for the amount of energy they're putting into it to get out.
But we have a lot of sun in Uruguay. We don't need make indoors. Really, we have indoors because of the police and the people and the neighbors, and it's illegal. So
sure,
indoor is always very more sure than outdoors. But we don't need lights and wasting this, and so we have plenty of sun, and it grows.
Yeah. There's actually been some pretty interesting advances here, though, in lighting and technology and some of the greenhouse situations. And one of them is these new ceramic metal halide lights, which are they're very high in PAR reading, which is what the plant sees. Can you explain PAR reading to her, Gato?
You mean the spectrum?
Yeah, like how plants see in PAR, for instance. And there's these new lights on the market called ceramic metal halides, and they are the next big thing. And I think I would like to send a set down there with her, because I think you might want to check out these things. They are.
It would be great to test them, because we want to buy thousands of lamps next year, so it would be good for the company also to let us test them. Yeah,
I will definitely make sure we get a sample sent off. It's very small. It's only about a 6-inch bulb. It's a super high output, and a 315 watt bulb actually puts out as much PAR reading and even more, about 36% more PAR reading than a 1,000 watt light. So,
crazy. And where they are made?
Well, of course, Philips makes them. So who else,
Dutch.
The Dutch, of course. The
really
Dutch. So, because that's one of the things I think that you can take from indoor lighting and bring it into greenhouse. I mean, that's the one good combination where I think while people are here, they should check out as much of the indoor stuff to take the technology and switch it over and bring it into the greenhouse technology. But these lights would be awesome. I will definitely get a sample out to you.
I forgot to give you a little introduction that you don't do for Laura. She's the tip of the spear for the Uruguayan fight. Her and her husband. And they have the association, which will tell you AECU. She can tell you better the whole story about AECU. They were defeating fighting against the people who's in jail for growing. They provide lawyers for them. They have been consulting the government. They celebrate the last 2 years the first Uruguayan Cannabis Cup, which has been by far the biggest cup in Latin America with like 700 people.
That's awesome.
I win first prize 2 times.
Oh, I don't know. I hear insider stuff going on.
Yeah. What's before me in them?
Yeah.
So She's the biggest fighter there in Uruguay, and she's guilty for most of the situations that are happening there. And the government respect them a lot. And yeah, she can give you the best update than me. And yeah, hugs to everybody, and thanks for the invitation, buddy.
Oh, for sure, for sure. It's pretty interesting the fact that did you think that you would be in politics and working with politicians maybe like 10 years ago or 15 years ago? Did you ever think that would be part of your future, or were you always
10 years ago? We are only growers, and we are pushing for our self growth and make more growers in the country. Then when advertisers notice that people go to jail because of our responsibilities such a way, we says we have to grow, not to buy. So people who really grows must not go to jail. So we organize first a forum from growers and then an association to have some. The lawyers are there, and we know if something happened, they will go there in 24 hours, and nobody go to jail for 2 years and a half. So it's what a very important thing the association is doing now. And by the way, the government we push for the other law, and now the government impulsed this new law, and they notice the growers must to be in this table of discussions because they really have an open mind now, There are no prohibition from the government. It's very raro. Strange, sit with the board of drugs and say, okay, tell me what happens. And there's some a different way of seeing the other countries don't look like that. So we invite many people from other countries that we know they know a lot more than us. Yeah. And we want them to invite and take them to the government board of drugs and have many meetings. We invite Simon from Simon's for Series, Mila, who tells them how to make the extract and how the medicinal works. Dunn with Cypher were there for the industry hemp also. Don and Aaron from ADN and Shay came the first with Alex to tell what traceability can be and the genetic way and how a chromatograph can take what are the THC, CBD, CBN. You must know everything about this, and they know nothing. So we are well advised. First of all, from Gato, we are very, very, very proud of his friends, really, because we know he's a very good grower, but also he knows the family, the international family. Sure. That's why I was here also.
Yeah, so networking. It's like a giant. It is like that. It's like everywhere in the world. The cream rises, and we all tend to know who has the best product, and we all kind of gravitate towards each other, and then usually help each other out. And that's I think one of the nice parts about cannabis.
It's easy to know who's our trulies and who's our fakes.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and we're in here for a long time, so if you're not really interested in this for the right reasons, you're probably not still with us. That's kind of how it usually rolls. And I have the same situation when I had to testify in front of the Senate here and talk about to the USDA about hemp production and what it could do for Colorado and the jobs it could create. And it was interesting to see because they had the same thing. Their eyes were open. They were definitely listening, and it was like probably and at the end of each of these sessions, they had a vote, and everybody was positive, and it moved on to the next round. And that was like. Each time I wouldn't say I was in shock because I very much felt it was going to happen, but it was like, wow, we keep winning these wars. Like every time these little battles to get to the war, and yeah, it's nice to see. It's nice to see that it's kind of universal.
It's nice to see uniforms taking care of us and not putting handcuffs on us.
Yeah, for sure. And I think. It only takes a short amount of time before people get used to that side because it's a lot easier to get used to good sort of quality things than it is to get used to being persecuted and taken, advantage of and not having to have access to things. So think it only takes maybe one generation, and we're already at the stage where everybody's, won't even remember what it was like before. They'd be like, why are we even wasting our time with this, Yeah. So I think we're going to wrap it up because we have just run over our time, like about 20 minutes or so. But it was very interesting because one of the things Lara was saying, I told Gato earlier, the same is that when she came here, she felt like a rock star because everybody's like, wow, you're from Uruguay, they all heard about, and it's like it's a nice feeling because it's sort of like the Amsterdam thing too. When you come from anywhere, anybody living in Amsterdam for a long time, you travel and you say you're from Amsterdam, and then immediately the conversation it goes towards weed, and most of the Dutch people don't like it because they don't actually smoke, so they get really offended when people assume they smoke, but I never get offended when people think I smoke. That's never a problem for me. But no, so we're super glad to have Gato on board to give us an update from down in Uruguay and have Laura Blanco in the studio. And to all our friends out there who are listening for our 4th show, this has been great. And we're going to be here next week, same time, 11 to 1 on the Adam Dunn Show. Thanks, Flargle. Shaved his head the other day, too. You guys are impressed? Nah. See, no one's impressed. Flargle.
It's all shiny.
Thank you very much.
See you guys later. Take care.